My name's Georgia, and I'm the daughter of Sri Lankan and English immigrants to Australia, and I'm now also a proud American citizen. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional stewards of the land on which we have the honour of recording and producing this episode of Talking and Stuff, the Kamiye and the Tongvan people, and recognise their continuing connection to land, waters, and culture. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present, and emerging, and celebrate the profoundly important history and culture they bring to my new home. Thank you. Hi, I'm Georgia, and you're listening to Talking and Stuff, a podcast for younger folks to talk about real stuff. The stuff that they want to talk about and think about, and even sometimes just laugh about in a safe place. It's a place for the stuff that isn't easy, the stuff that is confusing, that hurts, that's a bit scary, or that you wish more folks would talk about. Some of the things we do talk about might bring up a lot of feelings and thoughts for you. If anything you hear here worries you, please reach out to someone you trust and tell them how you're feeling. If you aren't sure who to reach out to, please reach out to me via the email in the show description. We are here for you, and you are never alone. Thank you for joining us and listening. We love having you here, and if you ever have something you'd like to share, we would love to talk with you too. I am so excited. This has been like a cultural experience for me today. We are at the naval base in San Diego?
Mm-hmm, Coronado.
Oh, Coronado.
Yep.
See, we drove over a big bridge, the Coronado Bridge, because we're on Coronado Island. Is that right?
Yep.
I'm with my dear friend Gabby, and Gabby started her California life here.
Yeah, I'm Gabriella, go by Gabby. I'm 17, and I moved to California with my family. We drove here from Virginia in June of 2017. So I have stayed at the base, the Navy Lodge that we are currently at right
over
now,
there.
And watched my brother start high school here. So this place is my first California home, but not a home.
Yeah. And so there are families. This is all the stuff that, you don't get to know unless you're in the inner circle of the military. There are families living here whose parents are, one of the parents is stationed here. And then, so you've traveled around a lot.
Yep.
Then as a child. Where else? So Virginia, California, where else have you been?
So I was born in Europe. I was born in Stuttgart, Germany. And then when I was 1, we moved back to the United States, and we moved to Tennessee. I lived there until I was 3 or 4, and then we moved to Virginia. Stayed there until 2017 when we moved to California. And then next summer, our plan is to move back to the East Coast. So,
how do you feel about that move? Besides the fact that I'm going to miss you, but not about me. How are you feeling about the move? How much are you going to miss me?
So much. So much. It's a different kind of feeling for me because...
Helicopter. Sorry. This is going to happen a bit. It's so cool. There's lots of military planes and helicopters. But you were saying...
What's the question again?
How are you feeling about moving away from Cali? And on a scale of 1 to 1,000,000, how much are you going to miss me?
1 billion.
Okay, good.
I'll miss you 1 billion. My moving situation is a little bit, I get to choose basically where I want to move. If I want to stay here in California or go to the East Coast or really anywhere, because by the time my parents are moving, I'll have graduated and I'll be choosing college. So depending on which college I go to is where I go. So I could choose to stay out here where my brother is, my older brother, but I could also go spend more time with my family.
Yeah, is your heart still deciding?
It is. I think I'm more leaning towards moving back home just because after the week I just spent with my family, it kind of confirmed that that I just want to be there and have those relationships with everyone.
So that makes sense. How nice to get to experience it anyway, to just trial it out and know that. You have shared with me previously you're going to like a pretty elite girls' school right now. Anyone that knows anything, whether they've seen it in a movie or lived it, the pressure in those schools to like be college bound or, you know, get the certain score to do the certain course that is the thing that you parent, blah, 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 right? I lived it. Even though my parents tried really hard not to do that, they still made me open up the book of courses and were like, which one are you going to do? Even though you said you're going to be an actor, right? It's just something that's ingrained in us of like, this is the path. And you've also shared that like you have an alternate path that you want to take. You have found what you're so fortunate, and I feel so fortunate that I found what I was passionate about when I was 4.5. And you know what you're passionate about. So it's not like you're like, well, let me just go to Harvard and see what feels good. So tell me, one, where you're at with like going against the system. But also, how is that? Because I remember it didn't feel good, even though I was clear. So how are you juggling that feeling?
Well, my school...
That was a very long question.
It's a college... My school's a college prep school. Now that I'm getting to the space where that is the focus, the point of all of that leading up to this moment, it gets a little more nerve-wracking. You feel pressure to do what everybody else is doing. Like if someone is applying to a high-end school, you feel kind of bad for not doing that and for not feeling like that's how high you should go. But I think also with myself, I know that that's not my journey, because I'm trying to focus on myself.
Yes.
And not what everybody else is doing, because once high school's over, I'm never going to spend another day in a classroom with these people.
Yeah.
So no matter if we go to the same college or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what's hard to remember in those moments, not always, but most of the time, if someone's judging you for your decisions, it means they're unsure about theirs. Because, right, you know the feeling of being really clear that a traditional college path is not going to be for you. You're not spending your time judging others, right? So sometimes we have to remind ourselves, if someone's making fun of me or judging me for my choices, it's more about their choices than mine. But that's not easy in a school environment.
Right.
Because you're like stuck in it's like a fishbowl of everyone looking at everybody, judging everybody. What do you see your path as being now? Like if you could define it, what would you say you're looking forward to pursuing when school is done?
Right now, the main goal is that when I go to college, I'll pursue sign language interpreting. And then have little classes of screenwriting, creative writing, maybe some culinary, a little snippet of that. The necessity of people need interpreters. Deaf people, it's such a need for that community. But I also just want to go with the flow, and what I do in my life now hopefully will lead me in a bigger, better path if that's what my life brings me.
So Gabby's underselling herself a little bit. She's so humble, but she's been contacting production companies with scripts that star people who use ASL. Hopefully going to be you. And I love that you already are thinking about storytelling. So much in our conversation, even driving over here, I heard you mention story. Like you worked at Sesame World. How cool is that? I wish I worked at Sesame World. And you love hearing people's stories as you meet them at the cash register. The same way that you're passionate about telling stories. I could see a life in which, yes, you're an ASL interpreter, but you use that experience and the stories that you learn through those, like being an interpreter, right? You are literally given the job of speaking for and to others, right? what is it about story and people's stories that interest you?
I think just the fact that my story will never be lived again, and that is the same for every single person who walks this earth. So I think just the fact that storytelling is both real and fictional, and you can fall in love with both your real life and the life that you've watched, so, or read, or that's the beauty of like books and movies and storytelling. Like, there were things I saw with ASL that it's like dancing with your hands, or it's storytelling with your hands, and that's exactly what it is. Like, your hands are telling a story, which I thought, like, it's kind of obvious because it's sign language, but
No, but there's something magical.
It's magical, yeah.
Because that's different. It's kind of like we talk about, if you've ever seen a dance performance or a musical performance, you feel like so many times you'll hear a song or even music without words. You'll be like, I really felt the story. Mm-hmm. In a way, it's similar that these hands are telling a story beyond words.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I love that. It is amazing to think how many young people are out there living a completely different world, that if they got to tell that story, we could all be better. Lord, I think that's so powerful. Mm-hmm. So neat. Now, you and I met because you and I both have had alopecia. We're not doing a very good job of it right now, admittedly, but we are alopecians. Once an alopecian, always an alopecian. I just call myself the bad alopecian. But ironically, that's really not been the thing that's defined our friendship at all. Like, that brought us together. But I certainly had a lot of challenges. When I was going through high school, boy, did I have my challenges. And very few people knew. Like, they did not realize until I got super skinny and was sick. People just thought everything was great and dandy. And I'm very present to those feelings right now because two of the girls that made my life particularly challenging, let's say, unaware to them, like actually one of them wrote in her IG message, I've been reflecting on our friendship and our rivalry. I was like, wow, you knew. Okay, cool. For saying it, I appreciate it. But the other one didn't. So a lot of these times when you're having challenges at school, everyone else is totally oblivious to how that's impacting you, how their behavior, how the things they're saying, the things they're doing. And I know, without going into too many details, because that's not what we're here to do, that school can just suck. There's sometimes no way to skin that other than just, it sucks.
It sucks.
I adore you. And from the second we met, I'm like, she's the greatest human ever. How could anybody want to do anything other than treat you with so much love? So rather than like delving in there, and I'm never being a like, oh, she said person, how about we do this? If somebody could have knocked on your door, bedroom door, like 2 years ago, and said a few things that maybe would have made it easier, putting you on the spot in that way, but like, what do you think might have made it easier to know? Obviously, going through it sometimes it just sucks.
I think the importance of trust, being that good friend or person that they need in their life, and to hold on to it, because if you go into high school, you need people with you. You need to have a support system, and the people that you have, you need to hold on to. There are friends that I have that I've held on to since freshman year that have shown me that the trust that I've given them, that they really care about having my trust, and that's important to reciprocate for my friends or for anybody that you just meet that day, and they put all of their trust into you. Like, that's so important. And like when you came and spoke to my school, how many girls came up to you and just trusted you.
It's true. It's beautiful.
Because maybe they didn't find that at school. And
obviously, right? Like,
yeah.
We seek for what we do not have.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Pathetic the way I said that. How about you say we just look for things we don't have? Now, that becomes tricky, right? When you don't know who you can trust.
Right.
And sometimes in our journeys to find the people we can trust, we learn we can't trust them. That really hurts. The amount of times where you think this is a good one, this person is in a place where they are trustworthy, and they don't live up to that. Is there anything that you've been able to do or experience that makes that easier to kind of like recover? Because you don't want to stop trusting. Oh, we might have to stop for this cleanse.
Maybe you'll see it.
Whoa! That's a big one. It's got 2 propellers. You can feel it in our butts right now. Reverberating in the ground. Okay, that was a fun. I trust that they will land. Okay, so talking about when you put trust in someone and they don't live up to that for whatever reason. Now, I want to put this on the record. As much as we want to be mean about people that are mean to us, I have learned that in time it's easier to realize that they're just in a lot of pain. They're just really hurt and confused and lost, and we were an easy target in the way. It's a pity. Sure is it a pity, but it doesn't help me personally to be like, of course you can blame them and like it's their fault they're doing those things, but I choose not to see them as bad people.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not going there today. It's more just like if you come across someone that's not in a good place and they're hurt enough that they're not worthy of your trust and you get hurt, is there anything that you've done to make that feel better, that you might like say someone else was like, what do I do though? Like I tried and now I don't want to trust anyone.
I think for me, when that was happening to me, when I was losing trust in a lot of people, I was worried that there was nobody. And then I had to look at the bigger picture. And I coincidentally got my yearbook a few months later. And I was looking at my class and I was thinking how many people I do actually have. And how many people are still texting me first and are still contacting me, still asking me to hang out. A lot of people.
One thing that I've always like pushed against, right, when people are like, you don't need lots of friends, you just need a few good ones. And I'm always like, yeah, but that doesn't stop it hurting when anyone else is mean to you.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you have 3 nice ones. When someone's mean, they're mean.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take a number away, it adds a number in another column. And I think that that's something I just want to sort of say out loud, is that for anyone that tries to minimize your pain from someone being mean to you because you have people that are being nice to you, it doesn't help. And mean is mean, difficult is difficult, crappy is crappy. And I just want to say that you being honest today and you inviting me to come speak, you made a difference to so many people that you don't know that you made a difference for. And I think what's so important about what you did is that even amongst your challenges, you were able to still do something to help other people that you'll never know, that you'll never, maybe one day one of those fellow students will write you an email and be like, I know I didn't say anything back then, it wasn't cool what girls were doing to you, but you blah blah blah. Or that speech, because you had that wellness day. She organized this entire wellness day, by the way, that was all about mental well-being and wellness. And I mean, just think how many people. So I want to celebrate that even in your challenges, you've still thought about other people. And as much as that's hard to do, I think that's a key to getting through it. Because when we do turn it on ourselves and when we see like we're the only ones, this is only happening to me, it can feel so much heavier than it needs to. And I mean, we've built a lifelong friendship. And it's interesting, like, I wonder, Gabby, if you invited me to speak and you were all like, everything's cool, I'm the cool girl, totally everybody loves me, and you're gonna come and speak, and I'm the star, like, if you'd been that girl, we probably wouldn't be sitting here. You know, I probably wouldn't have driven from LA to San Diego to chill with you. So I think that it's that honesty, that vulnerability, and being real, that it's through the tough stuff that we build our friendships. You could find anybody to have a light and easy breezy fun with, but because you were honest with me and you used your feelings to try and help others, like, I would literally go anywhere for you forever. And I think that's different to, like, you only need a few friends. That's one thing. But, like, who you've set yourself up to be, even at 17, you're going to, I can tell you, find friends that will stick and will show you that they're trustworthy. And I think that a lot of the flashy, cool kids go for short burst friendships, lots of friendships, and then in 10 years' time, I'm like, hang on, why doesn't this feel as good? And it's taken me to my age to really see how different that feels. Because I see those flashy kids now on Facebook, right? And they're not, like, you can just see in their eyes. Like, you can see, I don't want to judge them, but you can see in their eyes there's a, like, oops, this didn't quite work out how I was expecting, you know? And I just think if we could say anything to anyone, it's like, if it feels hard, we see you, I promise the hard is actually better eventually.
We see.
Oh, that was, oh, my heart. My heart. We've talked, so I knew this was going to happen. I said when she got in the car, I was like, oops, I did not leave enough time for us to be in the same space today. And already we're at 27 minutes. I was like, we're going to do a shorter podcast because nobody pays attention anymore. Hope you're still listening and watching. But we should wrap it up. Is there anything that you would say to a person out there that would be listening to this, and this, your story has resonated with them in some way, trusting that whatever you have to say would probably connect to them too? Is there anything you would like to say?
Find what you're passionate about and focus on you. High school is only 4 years, and I know when I was going into freshman year of high school, it felt like a long time, and then by junior year I was like, it's almost there. I would say just take in every minute of every breath that you take, because that is the most important thing. And the fact that you're here is a gift, and all of these things that go on in your life really won't matter in the end.
Gabby, you're the only person that really will make the true meaning of your story, because everybody else is reading your story through their lens, their sunglasses. Like, even though I say all the stuff I say about you, I'm still looking through my experience. I think that's such a great gift to say to somebody, it's your story to read. Everybody else is kind of actually just reading their story, and you're a day player in it for a second.
They're just the audience.
Yeah.
You're the narrator, the writer, the main character.
You're everything.
Yeah. Live like you were in a movie.
Yeah. We are. I feel like we're in a movie right now here on this beach. It's
like
beautiful.
Barbie.
Very. Everything. Just be Barbie. That's the end of the message. Be Barbie. I don't even know what that means.
They'll know.
Okay.
They'll know.
I haven't seen the movie yet, so.
Me neither.
Apparently it's amazing.
I know, I need to see it.
Yeah.
I know.
That'll be our next trip. Okay, Gabby, thank you so much. I am already like feeling sad on the inside that I have to drive you home in a bit and say goodbye. And it's kind of like I'm like keeping this going, so that has to go longer. But eventually, people are like, just hang up, press end, stop. It's been enough. Stop filibustering. Okay, Gabby, thank you so much, sweetheart. Okay. Thanks for listening to Talking and Stuff. All of the young people interviewed have done so at their own choosing, and were given final approval on all videos and audio before it was shared. This is their story, their thoughts and feelings, and it is my honor to share them with you all. We share these conversations with love for them, their families, and for all of you. If you don't feel comfy reaching out to us, but do need someone to support, we recommend you call the SMAHSA hotline on 1-800-662-4357. It's free and available to you 24/7.